Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello there, and welcome to all my listeners. I'm, as always, very excited to share with you yet another episode. Today, we're going to discuss a somewhat controversial topic in numerology regarding the letter Y and whether it should be used as a vowel or a consonant in certain occasions. But before we jump in, I want to say welcome to my new listeners. If you are new here, then in this podcast, we discuss numerology as a path for inner transformation, inner growth, self-understanding, spiritual expansion. And my personal approach is trying to make numerology as grounded, accessible, and applicable for everyday life so that you can really grow and mature using numerology. Now, a few important things you should know about if you want to dive deeper into numerology. The first thing is that I truly and deeply recommend getting yourself a numerology reading. It's one of the best ways to feel the impact and the tremendous transformative power of numerology. And you can contact me through my website link to book yourself one. The link is provided in the episode description and the podcast description. Secondly, if you are somewhat gravitating towards spirituality and want to make it also into a career, or perhaps you are already working in a spiritual, profession or so, and you want to define or redefine your career and wish to pursue numerology perhaps as a second job or a main job, I want you to know that I offer a full path of certification from beginner to expert numerologist. Again, you can read more about it in my website, and the link is found in the podcast and episode description. And lastly, if you like this podcast, if you enjoy it and want to dive deeper and keep learning more quality numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button on the platform you're listening from and become part of my numerology family and get updated with my latest podcast episodes. Now, my friends, today I'm recording from Lisbon, Portugal. Not my home base, which is usually Berlin. So forgive me if there's a little bit of noise. The noise here is a little higher than in my apartment in Berlin. But hopefully it's going to be quiet enough. So let's dive right in. There are two schools of numerologists regarding the topic of vowels. And one school claims that vowels are, well, we all know as vowels in the English language, namely A, E, I, O, and U. And then there's the second school of numerologists, of those who claim that in some instances the letter Y should also be considered a vowel. So in this episode, I'd like to explain my take on this matter and perhaps give you some food for thought regarding vowels. So let's get right into it. Now, first of all, why on earth even consider Y as a vowel if it's not? I mean, technically, right, Y is not considered a vowel in the alphabet. Well, so the second school of numerologists I just mentioned earlier claims that in the event where one's name has the sound of a vowel, yet doesn't use a familiar vowel, such as, for example, in the name Lynn, right? Lynn. but instead they use a Y. The Y in this case is or should be calculated as a vowel. Otherwise, there's a sound of a vowel, but it's as if we're ignoring, the vowel, it's kind of there, the sound is there, but not really giving it any importance. There's a vowel de facto, you know what I mean? It's like, it's there. It's not formal, but it's there. So that's why some numerologists claim that we must, in such a case, consider Y as a vowel, because it's literally and very practically being used as such and as one. Now I want to take a little detour and ask a question, or kind of open a question here and say, what happens if we had no vowels in our first or full name? This is something usually English speakers don't think about, because it's not something you really see or consider in the language, because you don't have like a name that is, let's say, pf or kk, or you know what I mean? We have some vowel, right? But this is indeed a rare case. But let's imagine, okay? Let's imagine a full name without any vowels. Now, in theory, this would affect our soul urge number, a very powerful and very important number in our chart. The soul urge number is calculated by reducing all our vowels in our full name to one single digit. But in the case of our imaginary friend, that number, having no vowels whatsoever, will sum up to a 0. Interesting, isn't it? So in theory, one could have a soul urge number 0. And that would be very interesting indeed, and add a whole new dimension to the understanding of who they are. Because normally, we only consider 0 as a number that can appear in our challenge number. We don't consider that 0 can appear in our actual core numbers. Let's ask another question. What if we are enforcing a vowel, imposing a vowel, where, in fact, there isn't one? Right? So, say we're just looking at the facts of the English language. There are 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U. And now we bump into this interesting person whose full name is Lynn Cindy, okay? L-Y-N-N, Lynn, last name Cindy, C-Y-N-D-Y, right? Using only Ys. There are no formal vowels. Now, we could insist, hey, listen, no. Now, all the Ys are vowels, because it cannot be that a name has no vowels, right? And we add them up, Y plus Y plus Y, that is 7 plus 7 plus 7, that's a 21-3 soul urge. Or we could stick to the language rules and say, hey, we have here a rare case of someone who has a soul urge 0. Fascinating. Perhaps we should honor that rare case. Maybe we're missing a great secret about this person by forcing the letter to be a vowel when it is in fact considered a consonant. 3 Ys, Lynn, Cindy. We force 3 letters here to be vowels when in fact they are consonants. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into what it could mean if somebody had, or if we allowed the possibility of our soul urge to be 0. But before I keep talking further, I just want to remind you real quick that I highly recommend getting yourself a numerology reading. That's one of the best ways to feel the life-changing effects and the huge impact numerology can have on your life. You can contact me directly through my website to book yourself a reading. The links are provided in the podcast and episode description. Secondly, if you wish to pursue numerology as a career, I want to remind you that I offer a full path of certification from beginner to expert numerologist. You can contact me directly to know more. Again, same links. And if you're enjoying this podcast and want to keep learning more quality numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button on the platform you're listening from and become part of my numerology family and get updated with my latest podcast episodes. Having said that, let us keep going further into number 0 as a potential soul urge. Now, the number 0 is very unique. And if you accept that it could, in some instances, appear in one's actual core numbers, you open the door to a very spiritual, open, intuitive, highly receptive number to be part of whoever this person is. Now, in my own mother tongue, namely Hebrew, I come from Israel originally, we have a way of writing with the sound of vowels, but without practically using the vowels themselves. We have vowels. And numerologists in Israel indeed accept the number 0 as a potential soul urge number. So what if that is indeed the case with our imaginary friend, Lynn Cindy, but we aren't willing to see that? Or perhaps we are accepting that, but are ignoring the elephant in the room, that in such a way the Y is de facto functioning as a vowel. So how do we kind of reconcile this conflict? How do we determine what's the right way to go here? Because on the one hand, we might be insisting too harshly that there always must be a vowel because we hear one. On the other hand, we can say, listen, but maybe there's a way that we simply haven't thought about, that we agree that we can we can kind of utter a name, but it's not a vowel. It's the letter Y, and it's not considered a vowel, so it's not. And then we accept the other kind of possibility of an existing 0. How do we determine which school of thought or direction or trajectory you're going to take as a numerologist? And the truth is, well, there is no absolute answer here. While I would have loved to give you a final answer, I can't. And if you know me, you know I stick to, and I adhere to honesty. That's really my path. I don't want to, sugarcoat anything. I don't want to pretend to give you answers to make it comfortable for you, because I don't believe that comfort is what makes us grow. I believe that truthfulness, honesty, and inquiry is what makes us grow. And so I would say that both schools of thought are right in their own way. And the best way to check which one you want to adhere to is by checking both charts and see which one describes the person you know more accurately, or yourself, perhaps. Right? You want to position both charts, one to the other, the one where you calculate the Y's as a vowel, and the one where you don't, where you have a 0. And you really want to see which of the charts describes the person in front of you better. This is a process of research and investigation. That is being a numerologist. You have to put it to the test. This is always the way to go with numerology. Sticking to strict rules, or flexible rules for that matter, that in reality do not work, no matter how exciting, interesting, whatever they sound or seem, but that in reality do not work, meaning that they fail to accurately describe people that we know well, this gives us a hint that we should perhaps adapt to new ways of interpretation. Okay? And that's really the way to go. That's a way to determine whether you want to adhere to the Y being a vowel or not being a vowel. You need to see what works. And what works means what actually and truthfully describes the person more accurately. Now, my personal approach, because I know the power of the zero and its beautiful rarity, and so I personally allow the natural phenomenon of having a person like Lynn Cindy with only Y's to have a soul urge number 0. That's my take. And that has also been my experience, okay, with people with a soul urge number 0. And I can tell you that with the people I know who have their names in Hebrew that allow for soul urge number 0, the interpretation was also absolutely spot on, really, and often describes them to a T, right? So I can't deny that. So to conclude, I would advise to open yourself to the possibility of an existing soul urge number that ends up being a 0. In other words, no vowel in one's full name. It is not a must, but certainly worth at least examining in order to see if maybe, just maybe, we are imposing or forcing a vowel where in fact there is none. Matter of fact. And we are therefore missing the rare and unique opportunity of meeting a person with a soul urge 0. However, again, to be fair, I must say that to make sure this is not coming from the wrong place, an egoic place, for example, like, whoa, I'm special, I have a 0, or my son or daughter, whoa, they have a 0, they're so special, right? Of wanting to discover something special or someone special about us or someone related to us, our new date, our new girlfriend, a new boyfriend, whatever, wife, husband, family member, or to be that someone ourselves, right? We want to make sure we're not coming from that wrong place. It is really best to check very honestly and with as much precision as possible which of the charts describes us or the person we're reading to better. The one where the Y is calculated as a vowel or where it isn't. That is, to me, how you should make the verdict. So that's my take on the whole matter with the letter Y, and I hope you take this into practice and check it for yourself and see the results. There's no shortcuts to being a good numerologist. It's always practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect, right? No one is born a master. Master is created over a lengthy period of time of many trial and errors. So keep learning, my friends. Keep growing through numerology. And as always, I hope this keeps inspiring you to go deeper and perhaps even take on numerology as an actual profession or just study it deeply for your own growth. And don't forget, if you wish to get a numerology reading, contact me directly through my website link provided in the episode and podcast description. And if you want to pursue numerology as a career, I remind you that I offer a full path of certification from beginner to expert numerologist. You can contact me through the links provided. And of course, if you enjoyed this podcast and want to keep learning more quality numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button on the platform you're listening from and become part of my numerology family and get updated with my latest podcast episodes. Okay, my friends, that's it for this one. And as always, I'll see you in the next episodes. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.